to get this going and really shake off the stagnant energy from the day, because a lot of things with Tantra is about energy. You're moving energy, sexual energy through your body. We're aware that we are physical beings and that we have physical bodies, but can be disconnected from our energetic body and our emotional bodies. So with energies and things like that, we take in energies through stress during the day. So we're just going to start with one of the main tenets of Tantra. The 3 tenets of Tantra are breath, sound, and movement. So I invite you to just get up wherever you are. If you don't want to be on the camera, that's fine. You can turn your camera off for this part. But we're going to dance. There's a practice in Tantra called the Shiva shake. Shiva is a god with the masculine energy, and this is just shaking the stress off for the day. It's called the Shiva shake. If you notice how dogs do when they're stressed out and they get really anxious or about to fight, moments afterwards, they'll shake their bodies, and that says nervous system reset. And we can do that same thing. So whenever we've been stressed or anything, just shaking off the energy of the day. So I'm going to play a song real quick, and I invite you, an invitation is just to get up and get moving. And we'll start with the 3 tenets of Tantra, which is breath, sound, and movement. So this is my Shake It Off song, and we can get started. Just move your body however your body wants to move, and just shake it off. Even just think of just physically shaking the energy off from the day, whatever stress is. They say dance like nobody's watching. This is how you move energy through your body. Just if you're just joining in, we're starting with a dance break. Shake off the stress from the day. Connect back to your body. And moving your hips like a circle 8 are really good for your chakras. You brings more blood flow to your pelvic fluid. Yes. So just shake. Even shake your arms, your legs. Just shake off the energies. Awesome, everyone. I'm loving seeing everyone dance. Yes. Amazing. I was saying the 3 main tenets of Tantra are breath, sound, and movement. So just see how your breathing is right now, right? Your breath, connecting to your breath, feeling the energy move through your body. When you're able to connect to these energies and you use breath, you can have better sex, better orgasms, deeper connection with your partners. I look like I just had sex with this hair like this. Hold on. But it's all good. What's that? So that's part of Tantra. So before we get started, I'm just going to invite you again to just close your eyes now and take in some nice deep breaths. And just put your hands in your lap with your palms facing up. Now I'm going to guide you through a cosmic breath for just a moment. Nice, long, slow inhale through your nose. Imagine your belly button's on a string and it's being pulled out away from you like a balloon, expanding with air as you breathe in, and then long, slow, deep exhale through your mouth. Letting your belly button relax towards your spine. Again, long, slow inhale through your nose. Long, slow, deep exhale through your mouth. Long, slow, deep inhale through your nose. Long, slow exhale through your mouth. And just breathe at a rate that feels good for you. The invitation is for each breath to be longer, slower, and deeper. And then just an awareness of noticing sensations in your body. You may notice tingling in your hands. This allows you to drop in and connect with your body. And when we know how to drop in and connect with our bodies, then we know how to connect with a lover and the world around us in a healthier way. Just letting go of stress and returning to the present moment. And just feel that energy surging through your body. It's so amazing. Now, whenever you're ready, just slowly open your eyes and return to the space around you. And how's everyone feeling? I'm so glad to see everyone here. I love seeing everyone's faces. Later, I'm going to go through questions with everyone. Hydrate. Water's amazing. Today, I'm going to be sharing with each one of you how to transform your love life with Tantra. And first, no judgment here, no shame. This isn't a shaming question. I would love to know if you're single or in a relationship. I would love to know. And Tantra has helped me so much. It really helped me heal from unhealthy patterns in dating. And there's been periods with Tantra that I've actually been single for extended periods of time or even celibate. A lot of people think Tantra is just about sex, but Tantra actually brought a new awareness to me of where I was not being careful with my energy whenever I was having casual sex. I'm born on Halloween. I'm a Scorpio. I used to be like Samantha from Sex and the City. I was a wild thing and just having a good time and looking for love in all the wrong places, I guess you could say. And so I just was just like, oh, I'm a nurse. I know about if they've had their tests or lab work, we're using condoms, we're being safe. And I was okay with having casual sex. And at that time, I was really heavy in my masculine energy. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We all are a balance of masculine and feminine energy, but I was really leaning more into the masculine. I was almost acting like a dude in the way I would be so transactional about sex or be like, I'm not going to catch feelings. And I was so guarded and I had blocks and things happening. And then when I had my first experience with Tantra, my first lover, that's when my whole world shifted. And I started understanding about energy. He had learned Tantra, he had studied it for over a year. And I had my first soulgasm with him. I share about that on my YouTube channel, which is Yes Tantra. And you can listen to that story later. It was a catalyst for how I handle relationships and had me diving deeper into Tantra. And it had me realize sex is, with Tantra, SEX, it's a sacred energy exchange. So then I realized, okay, I can't put a body condom on someone and protect myself from their bad energy if they haven't been doing their healing journey and they're not doing their inner work, right? I was like, all right, now I've started to be more cautious. So I actually, Tantra, for a while, I fucked up my sex life because I had this awareness. And when you have the wisdom, when you know something, you can't pretend you don't know anymore. But the things that I'm going to share with you today are things that I did even being single, looking at some relationship patterns that I was having, and even attracting healthier and better relationships and understanding when I am in relationship, how to deepen that intimacy and that connection. So I'm really looking forward to sharing those things with each one of you today. Learning to cultivate this relationship with yourself is beautiful. And then Mike, I love that too, about that you're opening open relationships into. All of those things are really beautiful experiences, and I honor and respect each person's journey. With Tantra, I learned is one thing that Osho would say, if you love a flower, you don't pick the flower, because when you pick the flower, then it can die. So sometimes in our society, relationships come from a place of like bondage or controlling or ownership of another. And that's not healthy. But when I work with couples that are wanting to deepen their intimacy and their connection, and they have this beautiful love to share, I love to see that. There's just like nothing better. So that's really so beautiful. I appreciate what everyone's sharing here. And there's so much here for each one of you. So let's get started. So one of the things, again, what I was saying is the 3 tenets of Tantra are breath, sound, and movement. But even adding dance on a date night with your lover is good. And even if you don't have a lover right now, it's so important that you cultivate and have amazing self-love. Pink Tantra focuses on your heart chakra, and that works with self-love and also works with intimacy blocks that you're having or past wounds, to where you're not being open, where you're being guarded, and you're not fully being intimate and vulnerable in your relationship. So often we think of vulnerability as a weakness, but I've learned through Tantra and my experiences since embracing this that vulnerability actually became my superpower. And even me stepping more into my feminine energy, in our society, we see feminine energy as weakness because our society is based on the old patriarchal ways. But there's actually such beautiful and feminine energy. And males are actually more of a balance of masculine and feminine energy than females are, because males have the XY chromosome. But because of the way the old society has been structured, even males can receive so much shame or criticism when they lean into some of the beautiful aspects of feminine energy within themselves. So one thing that Tantra does offer is how to have a healthy balance of the masculine and feminine energy, and use both of those things and have this dance between them and the duality to co-create an amazing life for yourself. So again, whenever you're with a partner, you have a date night. If you do dancing before, what happens is it gets the energy and the blood flowing, right? And you get the energy going up through your chakra systems, because in Tantra, there's these energy centers in your body called chakras. I'm not going to go too much into that today, but it's really amazing how these chakras impact our lives, our organ systems, our health, our vitality, our emotions, and how we even navigate the world or interact with other people based on if those chakras are balanced or they're very open or closed down. So whenever you do breathing, you're opening and moving the energy up through your body. And even when you drop in with a partner, and if you breathe and match the breath and just do nice slow breaths, like we even just sat for a moment and connected to our breath, and how much more were you able to feel sensation in your body and really drop it and connect with yourself. And then sound is really amazing. And even whenever you're having intimacy with a partner or even on your own, if you moan or you make sounds, that sound is like a thief. It steals tension from your body. So you're able to experience more pleasure whenever you use sound. And then moving to get the blood flowing, moving your body is so amazing. So those are the 3 main tenets of Tantra. When I talk about having a dance party before a date night, you can have that with your partner and just dance in the living room, play some of your favorite music. I make an amazing playlist on Spotify and listen to really amazing music when being intimate. I just curate that playlist, and that's a lot of fun. Also, when I've been single, I also make sure that I give myself a date night. That's so important, because that's about self-love. And when you do those things, and when you have a date night for yourself, do all the nice things for yourself. Take yourself to an amazing dinner. Pamper yourself before. Have a nice bath and soak in the tub. Listen to some of your favorite music. Dance and get your body moving. Wear something that's sensual on your skin. How the fabric feels. Wear a scent that you love. Incorporate all of your 5 senses whenever you're dating yourself or a lover, and give this time to yourself. It's so important. And when we learn to become our own best lover and really work on this relationship we have within ourselves, then we show up more powerfully in partnership. Then we attract better lovers, because relationships are just a mirror for us. They're just a mirror, and they reflect like where we are, and like attracts like. And when we want to attract better lovers and healthier relationships, it's important that we cultivate that first within ourselves and see what's holding us back from having a healthy relationship. What are our unhealthy patterns that we have? And that's one thing that I learned with Tantra. I sat and took a moment of not dating, and I was celibate for several months. And I just reflected, what is the common denominator in the unhealthy patterns? When I was younger and I picked partners, I didn't make the best choices because my mom never really gave me that advice on picking good choices. Whenever I was young and dating, my mom, all she cared about was if the person was good looking. She was very superficial. Guess what? I had a narcissistic mom. But anyway, so it was like, are they good looking? And then after that was like, if they had money. right? That's just the things that she would ask, never what quality of the person she was. So when I started thinking of that from a young age, is like, oh, these are the things I should look at. How do they look? And I was caught up in those superficial aspects of a person. Wow, did I really pick some doozies? I can just tell you. So it's really important that we see what is that pattern that we've had and why we've made those choices, because a lot of times we'll think, oh, men are all the same or women are all the same. No, what it can be is that we're approaching relationship from that same energy, from those same patterns or unhealthy patterns. And we're just repeating those cycles with a different person. Like we break up because we say we're tired of that, but then we just go to the next person and we end up attracting that same thing. So this is why it's so important first to work on the relationship with yourself. You are your longest lasting relationship from your first breath to your last breath. So that's why self-love is so important. And then when you know how to have this amazing relationship with yourself, then you have healthier relationships with your lovers, with your friends, with your family. Things just open up for you. And for me, I used to be very quick tempered when I was younger. And then with Tantra, I stepped into having more of a Zen because I started meditating. White Tantra practices talk about meditation, breath work, mantras go with white Tantra. Then pink Tantra is self love, working with the heart chakra. Red Tantra is solo self pleasure rituals with Tantra or intimacy practices with a lover with Tantra. And there's a new age of Tantra that's Black Tantra, and that infuses elements of kink and BDSM with Tantra because it's all just about energy. And even the kink BDSM world is like an energetic exchange, a power exchange within energies. So it's just a different play on energies. So those are some different areas with Tantra. But when you start to have this really amazing relationship with yourself, you start to approach relationships in a different way. And I began attracting better relationships because I started working with me first and having more intentionality when I dated, and knowing I could tell when my self-love game was strong. I could tell when my lover, if their self-game wasn't on point. And if they didn't have that, then I wouldn't proceed. But when I was growing up, no one gives us the right skills about relationships or how to have good sex. Like those things aren't discussed. It's like shame, or our sex education is usually abstinence, wait till you're married, don't get a disease, don't get pregnant. That's all we're educated about, but not about all the amazing, beautiful experiences you can have through sharing this intimacy and sacred sexuality and amazing pleasure. And I see someone else here in the chat said they're not ready for a relationship. And I, for a while, wasn't ready for a relationship. So this is the best time to work on that relationship with you. And often when we want a new lover or partner, we'll think, oh, I wish this partner had this trait. So let's say not like on my mom's scale of what is a 10 is just physical. Let's say a 10 is about all of the other aspects of like how their heart is, how their emotions are. And we're looking at that as a scale of all these good attributes and qualities of what we're wanting in a partner and lover. But we can often say, I want someone who's rated a 10 with having a score of all these great attributes and qualities. But are we also a 10? Are we doing that work? Are we just expecting, wanting to have that in someone else, but we don't have that expectation for ourselves? Again, like attracts. So if you're wanting someone of that caliber, you want someone who has these traits, you need to embody that first yourself. And so that's one thing that I love about Tantra. It gives you these tools so you can begin to embody these amazing self-love practices and understand love and love in a healthier way, and then experience sacred sexuality and sensuality. A lot of people have intimacy block. And I want you to sit and think about if there's like a fear of intimacy that can happen so often with people, that we have intimacy blocks from either our mother-father wound. This is something I help my clients with. If they have a mother-father wound issue and we do some inner child healing and go back through there, that those practices help me so much to do healing from my inner child wounding. And then going into removing energetic cords or toxic soul ties from past lovers, because sometimes we've had some unhealthy relationships and that has shut us down and we start to be guarded. But whenever you have that first love when you're younger, you're so naive to things and you've never had your heart broken. So you just go all in and you're just hearts wide open. But then after time, if you had a few heartbreaks, you start to be guarded and close off. And we put up all these walls and we feel like we're protecting ourselves with these walls, but we're really blocking our blessings and we're blocking the experiences we can have by keeping those walls up. And so it's really important that we work on these things. But whenever people have intimacy blocks, usually the hurt of that is stored in your first chakra. Your first chakra is your root chakra. And that's where feelings of insecurity, lack of safety can be locked in those chakras. And then in your second chakra, your root chakra is based in your perineum and your sex organs down at the base of your tailbone, your spine. And then between your navel and your pubic bone is your second chakra, which is your sacral chakra. And that's where shame and inhibitions can be stored. Blocks, like blocks in these chakras, can keep you from flowing energy, from experiencing emotions, healthy emotional balance, and joy. And blockages from in your second chakra are often happen because you have painful relationships, trigger warning if you've had abusive sex. And physically, sometimes women with hysterectomies and stuff can have a block there energetically, which can be worked through, not to have a fear around that. If you're having any body shaming, intimacy or commitment fears, and we can have intimacy and commitment fears also based on what we learn from our parent and religious beliefs as well. So sexual healing, that's what I love about Tantra. It's like Marvin Gaye, that song, Sexual Healing. That's my theme song. And sexual healing helps to remove those blocks by doing things with your breath, like breath work. We'll share a resource from my YouTube for the breath of fire, because this practice for breath of fire will help to open any blockages you have in your chakras or your energy centers, because we can have blocks. And the chakras are, I have a little picture over here behind me. The chakras, it's almost if you think of like a string of Christmas tree lights, and when one of them is blocked and is out, then the other ones don't get lit up as well. Breath of fire is a practice that you can use to help open. And you have this, it's called the inner flute, the Sushumna Nadi, where these chakras lined up. And you just bring your breath from the base of your spine and your sex organs all the way up through your breathing, through your mouth. And you can actually move that energy and open up those chakras. And they're like these spinning, chakra means like a spinning vortex or energy wheel. And so it really helps to open these up. So if you're worried that you have any chakra blockages, that will help you with that. If you want more support with that, something I help my clients with, to see what intimacy blocks do you have? Where are you pushing away love, or where are you just playing it safe and playing it small because you're so afraid to be hurt? Because when we've been hurt in the past, that can happen. But Tantra really helps us to connect. One of the amazing things to try with someone to experience intimacy is eye gazing. It's a beautiful Tantra practice. And when we talk about intimacy, if you do eye gazing with someone and you're with your partner and you look at them in the eyes, just sit with them in a relaxed space, take some nice, slow, deep breaths and just match your breath with them. This can be even in the bedroom before you're going to be intimate. Just match your breath and your breathing with them and do long, slow, deep breaths. And then look them in the eye and look at their left eye, because your left eye is your receptive eye. The left side of your body is the feminine side of your body, and the right side is your masculine energy side of your body. So you're going to look at the left eye and just look into the left eye and hold that gaze for a period of time. People can have sex, but they're not able to have intimacy or connection, or they feel uncomfortable to make eye contact because they can not be comfortable fully being seen. And they can also feel shame or feel embarrassed about things. And so having this intimacy is really powerful practice. And you can practice this technique even with using a candle, and just get a candle and stare at the flame. And if you're single, you can just do eye gazing and make it a meditative thing and tap into your breath and just stare at the candle. The longer you can hold that contact, then you'll be better with making eye contact. So that's how you have that deep connection. And what I love about Tantra is it allows you to really drop the walls, drop the armor, the mask and everything, and really allow your lover to fully see you and to fully see them and honor them. And whenever I'm single, I even do this as a solo practice with mirror work and with looking in the mirror and holding a gaze with an eye contact with myself and saying nice things to myself in the mirror and doing practices in the mirror with mirror work. And also author Louise Hay, she has done some really amazing work on this. And there's some books that she has on mirror work too, which would be a great resource. But mirror work is really great whether you're single or in a partnership, and just having this practice with someone. So I'm going to give you an amazing practice. You'll have to use your imaginations here since I don't have anyone to demonstrate this with. But this is a practice that's really amazing to do if you're a couple. And if you're not a couple, there's two ways of doing this. You can do this in a romantic way with a lover. And then there's a G-rated version that you can do it in a different way to enjoy this kind of communication with your children as well. So whenever we do this, it's called a sacred bubble. Okay, so we're using things with breath and with eye gazing and connecting in the sacred bubble. Sit on the floor with your legs crossed, or you can even just sit in a chair with your lover. Be sure that always listen to your body and your body mechanics. Be sure that you're comfortable. So it doesn't always have to be seated on the floor. You can be sitting in a chair or sitting, but just where you're able to make eye contact with one another. Always honor your body. And then what you're going to do is I'm going to just show you really quick here. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit there across from them. You can have a yoga mat or a blanket laid out and just sit across from them. And then you just sit in and drop in for a moment. And then you're going to create this bubble together. So you like breathe up and bring the air in. And then just like with your hands, you're making a bubble over your partner. You go over their head like this and exhale and breathe down. And then they take their hands and they breathe up and they put the bubble over you. And you can imagine that the bubble is iridescent or purple or pink or whatever you want the bubble to be, right? And then when you're in this bubble with your partner, you sit there for a moment and take in some nice deep breaths and do some eye gazing. Look at one another for just a moment and drop in. And then share with one another what it is that you want to take away from your bubble this day. And this is a great thing to do also when you're returning home from work at the end of a day, when you want to get away from work mode and back into the home life. This is a great energetic reset when you get home to drop in with your lover or to drop in while I'll share you a version for kids. So you make the bubble and then you agree energetically, like what are the things you want to remove from the space? So you take turns. So I might say, I want to take away fear. And so you're going to actually imagine you're picking up fear and throwing it outside your bubble. And then your lover may say, I want to let go of expectation. Throw it outside the bubble. I want to let go of regret outside the bubble. I want to let go of needing to be perfect outside the bubble, whatever it is. I want to let go of shame, just whatever the stress, the argument from the day, whatever it is that you went through, throw it outside the bubble. And energetically, because Tantra is all about energy and your energy centers your chakras. Energetically, when you want to call and cultivate something in with a partner, a lover, or loved one, or in your life when you're manifesting, you first want to clear and create space for it. So before you call in what you're wanting to experience, let go of the stressors of the day. Let go of the fears that maybe you're having here with your partner. Maybe the intimacy blocks, whatever is coming up for you, let that go. And then take turns calling in what you want to bring into your bubble. And so it could be love, could be more pleasure, and you just take turns. Grace, compassion, fun, play, let's dance. You know what I'm saying? What is something you're wanting to do? Bring that into the bubble and just sit there and then ask your lover an amazing question or share something that you appreciate about them. One great question to ask is you could sit there with your lover and say, what do you wish we did more of? As an invitation. And remember with this, don't be defensive and be like, we could have done. No, just listen and receive without judgment. Then they can ask the same of you. Another great question you can ask is, what made you fall in love with me? To remember what brought you here to begin with. Often in a relationship, we forget what the initial thing was that really connected us or that grew those first moments where we're falling in love. And then we can get into patterns or cycles or habits and routines and forget about the amazingness of the choice that we made to come together in this union and this relationship. And so when you want to keep a relationship, you need to keep doing the things that you did in the beginning of the relationship too, that really sparked that. And this is a deeper one. What about you feels hardest to love? What about you feels hardest to love? This is where we get into intimacy. These can be uncomfortable questions, but they can reveal so much of fears or blocks or things your partner is maybe holding inside that's keeping you from having that intimacy because they have a fear, they feel that unlovable, or they feel that maybe you'll be upset about something or something is holding them back. What is that? Because you're not going to be able to work past that and move beyond that if you're not aware of it. They could be perceiving something and it's completely not anything that you find unlovable about them. Often we can amplify things in our imaginations and make a mountain out of a molehill, is an old expression. Another thing is you can ask about, what about our relationship are you proudest of? These are just amazing relationship questions. Another is, how do I show you that I love you without telling you? It's so beautiful. And you can keep it light. It doesn't have to be these deep questions, right? But that's just to give you a few to go by. And then whenever you're done in the bubble and you both have felt like you shared, then we're going to just do like this, snap your fingers to pop the bubble and come out of the bubble. And that's a great way to reconnect again. Whenever you do this with a child, put like a yoga mat or something down and you tell the kid, we're going to have a magic carpet ride. So this first thing I'm doing a sacred bubble, you could do it with your lover, clothes optional, right? But of course, this is kid approved. So when you're with your kids, what you do with the child is, say they got home from school. You're like, okay, let's do the magic carpet ride. So you're just sitting there and you sit with your legs crossed and connect in, and you just do the thing and make the bubble and let them think of what an amazing magical color it's going to be. And you're just like, we're going on this magic carpet ride. And then ask them to throw out of the bubble whatever stresses or worries they had during the day. This could really bring up a lot with something that's going on at school or in their life that maybe they would never have a conversation with you about and you wouldn't even know about. So just allow them to throw those things out of space and what do they want to bring in, and then snap your fingers and get up and go. And this is such a great drop in and reset. So I just want to share that tool. That's just one of many Tantra practices and rituals that I know, but it's such a powerful one. So I really wanted to share that with you today. When you're having a partner, and even Tantra solo or couple, whenever you're having pleasure or intimacy, the lovemaking needs to not be goal oriented. It doesn't have to just be about orgasms. Orgasms are amazing, but it's really about taking that time in that moment with your lover and doing an honoring of them. Have you ever done something and taken them on a date night and even taken time to have a worship? So that's what the difference is in Tantra lovemaking from other lovemaking, as it is an honoring of the god or the goddess. I see the divine in you. I'm worshiping you as the god or the goddess, and I'm honoring your body in this way. One thing that I do sometimes for a lover is to bathe them and to play really amazing music, to make them some of their favorite foods. What could you do that would be an honoring? And then like having massage, sensual massage, and prolonging that pleasure and stretching things out, because we can get in these routines with sex and we get in this habit and we just go to the same routine, the same thing. We can quickly finish, but there's not that intimacy or connection. And then it can start to feel like sex is just like another thing to do on the to-do list or a chore, instead of something where we're really connecting and experiencing a lot of pleasure and intimacy with one another. And so even just doing something like sensual massage, having some great smelling scents or candles, having the lights, having amazing music, even having some amazing fresh fruit or strawberries you can feed one another, and just having those different elements in loop, experiencing pleasure using all 5 of your senses is so beautiful. Being able to have eye contact and take turns with pleasure. You can do an exercise where you're like, I'm going to spend like 15 minutes of giving you pleasure, and then you're going to give me 15 minutes of pleasure in return. Afterwards, checking in about what did you enjoy the most about that after you had intimacy with your partner. What would you like to experience more of? And that's such a great question. That way we can connect with our lover. One thing I talk about in my female pleasure masterclass is how females' arousal scale is different than males. Males will usually, when I'm saying male, I'm referring male or female, I'm just talking about anatomically speaking, whatever you're assigned at birth as far as that. So all gender inclusive here, however you identify, I respect all. But just on sexual terms is how we experience orgasms can be different based on if we're anatomically male or female. So tapping into how much pleasure can we experience? And again, with males and females experiencing it differently, like for males, they're really quick to be aroused and then they peak really fast and then they're finished. Whereas women, I say I'm like an oven, you have to preheat the oven. It takes longer. Our arousal scale can take us a full 20 minutes or so to be aroused. So if our male partner is, oh, I'm ready to go now, and they want to be spontaneous about it. But if your mind is over here on a whole other list of things you've been doing, and that's not what you were thinking of, and you're maybe exhausted from the day's work, that's the last thing that's on your mind. And it takes you a while to even catch up to speed to that. And then if on the pleasure scale, if the male is finished before your pleasure starts to kick in, then there can end up being some resentment there because then the female's not as inspired. So when women will tell me they're not enjoying sex with their partners, I'm like, have your partner come work with me, because once they work with me, the women will be bugging the men for sex. because the sex is going to be so different. The men will be like, oh my gosh, tonight, honey, I have a headache. Not again, because you'll experience pleasure in a whole different way and understand how those pleasure cycles work in each of our bodies and how to match those things up and even prolong pleasure for each person is so amazing. I teach my male clients how to separate their orgasm from their ejaculation so they can be multi-orgasmic. One of my male clients is having better sex at 60 with his wife than when they were 30. I love to see that. And he was being prescribed Viagra before we started working together. So it's been really amazing. I have like hour-long sessions with my wife. I'm ready to go again the next day. I feel so much power in my penis. I wish I knew about this 15 years ago. That's amazing. He's in his 60s. So there's so much more possible that you can experience. And we're limited because in our society, we're not taught that we can experience prolonged states of pleasure, and pleasure is medicine. So experiencing those prolonged states of bliss and pleasure with our partners is so profound. And even when we are having a solo session, when we're self-pleasure, so often we know how to get from point A to B very quick. So we'll get back into the routine of how we do things. And then if our lover was to be that fast with us, we would be offended, be like, oh my gosh, why don't you take your time with me? It's important that we take that time with ourselves. Those are just some of the things. But yes, take the time and experience more pleasure. Breathing deeply helps you feel more pleasure, feel that pleasure going all through your body. The biggest thing you can do with White Tantra practices is meditation. Meditation is great for your sex life and you have more pleasure because your brain is your largest sex organ. So whenever you do a meditative practice, then you're able to not be so distracted by the stresses or the demands of the day, and you can really tap in and drop in and connect with your body and experience more pleasure. So the longer you can stay in a meditative state, the longer you can stay in orgasmic states. So that will totally expand. It's a definite game changer. I use the app Headspace. I thought I was not going to be able to learn how to meditate. Headspace did wonders for me. I'm like the computer with 1,000 tabs open. I was like, I don't think I can possibly meditate. And it's so amazing because we get so distracted. How often have we been with a lover and then we've thought of the long laundry list of things to do or the dirty laundry in the corner or whatever, or the stress from the day, and we're not fully connected and dropped in. And your lover can sense that energetically, especially females. If I'm teaching my male clients on how to be multi-orgasmic, I'm like, don't just try these practices with your wife and not let her know. You need to do a lot of these practices on your own, because if you're just practicing in her body, like for a female, it feels like you're just like masturbating inside of our body. Like we feel that you're disconnected, and we're really long in that intimacy. And so if you could be more intimate and focused in and drop in and have more presence, then you're going to enhance the lovemaking with your partner. And that's what meditation helps you do, to be drop in and be fully present. Your presence is a gift. So just being able to experience that for prolonged states of pleasure. At the end, I am going to share with you some of my master classes I've had in the past where I've gone more into detail on some of these things. That would be really great for you if you want to get that. I'll share the details later. I'm going to drop in and see, does anyone have a question? Don't be shy. This is a shame-free space. And there's just so much with Tantra and pleasure and intimacy that you can help. Okay. I love this. Such a great question. What are some physical intimacy practices that aren't sex? A lot of the intimacy practices you can do is even pleasure mapping with your lover. So you can do something where you use different sensations of touch. Is it a finger light touch, more of a tickling? Is it with your fingernails? Is it something more firm? And then just pleasure mapping and trying different pleasure sensations on their body, using even sensations of hot or cold. If you use something with heated wax, like candle wax, be sure it's a body safe candle wax so you don't cause burns to the skin. I'm also a nurse, so be cautious of that. But you could use something with ice or just do different things. And so you'll have different sensation, and just do pleasure mapping, and even just giving your lover a massage, or even just saying, how about we just kiss for 5 minutes? Like when you're taking turns of pleasure, what would it be like if we just kissed for 5 minutes and there's nothing else or expectation? We just really enjoyed the kiss. Remember how much fun it was back in high school days? I do just making out and kissing. That could be such a turn on, because everything else is off the table. So if you just take everything else off the table and be like, this is what we're just going to dive into and explore tonight, that can be a really great way to have intimacy. And even just taking turns, or even showing them, kissing them the way you would like to be kissed, and playing around with it is really beautiful too. Other physical practices that you can do are, again, like the eye gazing. dancing together and massaging one another. And then whenever you massage your lover, put your energy of your heart in your hand. Your hand is just an extension. Your hand is actually connected to your heart chakra. So imagine that the energy and the love that you have for them is coming from your heart all the way down your arm, down your hand. And when you're rubbing on them, you're just pouring your love into them. You can even massage around their heart chakra is really good. Massaging the chest, massaging the breast, like those things are really activating and great for your heart chakra. So just using that and thinking of the love. And then whenever you're giving oral sex to your partner or lover, imagine that your mouth is like you're honoring or worshiping them and showing them how much you love them through your mouth, and that you're just bringing up through your heart, through your mouth, that love, and you're pouring it in that way. And so energetically, when you really just take some moments and breathe and really connect on a deep level instead of it being a task and you're just thinking, sometimes we can get caught up on the positions or the robotics of sex or this performative aspects of sex. But are we really thinking about how amazing this could feel to them? Not is it looking good and do we look really cool? And oh my gosh, now we should make our own OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? Don't look at the performative aspects. Look at like, how is this feeling? And how can even I get pleasure from being able to witness my lover's pleasure? And how long could I prolong that pleasure for them? Sometimes you take turns and have a date night where it's like you're just honoring them and giving them amazing ways of physical touch and pleasure. And then they take a night and they just do that for you. You can even say that tonight genitals are off the table. Like it's just all going to be touching around that and just leveling up. And then the next night can be this. It could be like a sequence. So you keep leveling up. One night could be just like kissing. And the next night could be everything but genitals. And the next night, and you just are building this levels of this anticipation. Is so amazing. And this isn't Tantra, but this is a powerful tool. Know your love languages and learn to speak to your lover in their top 2 love languages, because foreplay happens way before you ever enter the bedroom. How you're conveying love to your partner and how they're able to understand that through the love language quiz. You can just Google love language quiz. You'll be able to take that. Have you take it, have your lover take it. And then this way you can have this great communication, because so often we show love to our partners the way we want to be loved. But if that's not their love language, it's just like you're speaking a whole different language. It's like that just goes right over their head and you're putting forward all this effort. You're just like, oh my gosh, they should feel so loved. I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And I talk about the love languages quiz in my ebook, The 12 Days of Self-Love. But it's really important that you understand that. So you're communicating with them in their language so they receive the messages of love you're trying to send. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and your energy and just frustrating both of you. And your partner's, I don't feel loved, and they're frustrated. And you're like, oh, they're just so ungrateful. I'm just loving them all the time. You have to love them in ways that register for them, just so you know that. So I hope that's helpful. Any tips to allow self-love, being okay, feeling worthy with exactly where we are right now, body? Yes, I love this. With self-love, it's so important that you embrace exactly where you are now and love your body as it is now. Dr. Emoto did a study where they took water, and there was water that they would speak lovely sayings into it. They would play music that was healing frequencies of sound to the water, and then they would freeze it and look at the ice crystals, and it would make these beautiful configurations of these ice crystals under the microscope. And then they got another thing of water and they would say negative things to it and play like really low vibration music and stressful sounds around it, chaotic, bringing out the chaos, right? Because music can do that. Imagine when you go to a movie theater and you hear a movie playing, it can put you in either romance or fear or whatever based on the sounds of music. So music is very powerful. So then they froze that water, looked under the microscope, and it wasn't these beautiful crystal designs. It was cloudy. And just think, your body is 70% water. So your self-talk, how you speak to yourself, matters. And we can only love someone as much as we love ourselves. So when we're overly critical of ourselves, then we'll find that we're overly critical of our partner. We're projecting this onto them often. So we need to be able to be compassionate with ourselves, because we can only love someone as deeply as we're able to love ourselselves. I hope that's helpful. And then, yes, just knowing that you're an abundant person. So that's why I like dancing too. Dancing is abundance. You're moving, you're shifting things around. So loving yourself even in the moment, and then just seeing what is your relationship to money. And do you have a relationship to money based on fear? Money is a lover. Is your lover someone that you don't trust? Is your lover someone that you're afraid of, that you don't trust, that you don't respect? So treating your money like a lover, and how do you magnetize it to you and how do you draw it to you? And money is just an energy. It's a frequency. That's what's called currency. Just knowing also whenever you do spend money, when you're paying your bills or doing something, celebrate that and go, whatever I invest in, this is going to come back to me and be even amplified. This is going to come back to me in so many ways instead of operating from scarcity. Because when we approach money from scarcity, or we approach relationships from scarcity, we end up having negative relationships with that money or with that person. That old Hollywood movie where the line is, "You complete me," is BS. You need to approach relationships coming whole and complete and do your inner work and your work so that you can have this healthy relationship. I hope that's cool. I also want to share, I have the Female Pleasure Masterclass, which is really the Female Orgasm Masterclass, because I advertise this on social media and everyone gets so triggered when you say the word orgasm. It's the Female Orgasm Masterclass. This is a great class for both men and women. It's a live masterclass that I had, great resource. And I go in and I use all my knowledge of being a nurse, a tantra coach, a sex expert. I have sex expert. You have to have 10,000 hours experience. I've done the field work and research, everyone. So I'm here to give you the good, juicy details. That's why my shirt here, it says sexual intellect. I have an Awaken Your Feminine Magic Masterclass. And that's a really juicy one too. And just tapping into the vibrance of your energy and your ability to be this creatrix within your life, awakening yourself into the goddess. And the Male Stamina Masterclass, which is about how to last longer and stronger in bed. These are really amazing resources. Someone that did my 12 Days of Self-Love ebook, they said, I've had so many amazing breakthroughs on the first 12 days. I'm going to repeat the 12 days. She's like, I went to see my therapist and my therapist asked me, what was I doing differently? And because they could see a huge shift in her, and it just warmed my heart. She said that they wanted to know my website and check out the book themselves. So I was like, oh my gosh, I love that what I'm creating here is really helping people so much. Also, if people need more support, I offer one-on-one coaching. I'll share a link here if you want to request a free discovery call with me so we can see like where maybe your intimacy blocks are, what might be holding you back from really having this amazing love, or you want to go dive in deeper into anything that I shared here, let me know and we can have a call. I would love to talk with you more about it.
Hi, everyone. So I have a question. I think it's important. We talk about self-love so much and how this is going to attract better partners, right? I am a person that has cultivated self-love as I preach to like my own temple inside me and I adore myself.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, somehow I tend to keep attracting, especially narcissists. How do we change that mindset from being like, oh, hell no, men are going to be horrible, to a better mindset, knowing that I don't have an example of a man that is actually stable, etc. Do I have to imagine him? What do I do? Yeah, I'm an empath indeed.
And narcissists love empaths for sure. And then you think too, and you don't have to share that here, is did you have a relationship with a parent that was a narcissist? Because sometimes when we've had that, yes, the double whammy then. So our childhood relationships, our first relationships we have about love are with our parents. And often those have been dysfunctional relationships. Only now are we starting to have conscious relationships or conscious parenting, right? Back in the day, people wouldn't ask for help because they didn't want to be seen as crazy or they didn't want to get therapy. Or so they would turn to either drinking a lot to numb themselves out, or they would turn to religion a lot whenever they were having a challenge. So they didn't get the tools that they needed so they could stop passing this trauma generation to generation. So that gets passed down. And when that's the first relationship we've had, we tend to be attracted to that same thing, even on a subconscious level. So even consciously that you're aware of this, you might subconsciously. I have a group program for women. It's called the Orgasmic Manifestation Method. And my clients have attracted divine partners, started making more money. It's really amazing. It starts with a lot of self-love and tantric self-pleasure and everything, and using the energy of the new moon and the full moon and rituals for manifestation and attracting what you want. The universe and law of attraction doesn't understand no. It doesn't say, I don't want this. It just hears those things that you're saying. It doesn't hear the don't want part. So instead of focusing your energy on the frustration of the past stuff that you've had, focus on the qualities that you would like to have in a lover is the first thing I would say. And write those qualities down and just imagine that. And then imagine what would it feel to feel love that way. And then start loving yourself. It's never too late to reparent yourself. Start loving yourself and showing up for yourself in the ways that you wish your parents would have. Because when you start to heal that inner child, those inner child aspects, it's going to help you to have healthier relationships and attract better partners. Those are the first things that I would say to begin with. And this is something I support my clients. And if you want to dive in deeper to get more support, this is something I had to work on too. I've attracted a few narcissists as well. As you learn and you start to have these healthy relationships with yourself, and with Tantra really helps you connect. Your heart chakra connects your upper and lower chakras, but your heart chakra connects you with the world around you. So it helps you with connecting people in a healthy way. And when you start knowing how to do this and you heal, have gone more, even deeper, the more we break through those things, then we're able to notice in others when they haven't done that work yet. So taking our time, because narcissists sometimes don't want to be fast. You just take your time and study and get to know people and see how they act in challenging situations. Are they able to have empathy? That's why they're attracted to empaths, because they lack that empathy. So your empathy is like very attractive to them. I'm a big empath as well. So it's something you just to be aware of. And then don't shut yourself down just based on being frustrated in the past. There is possibility and there is hope, and there's someone out there that is just waiting and dreaming of being with you. Just know that. Thank you for that beautiful question. The origins of Tantra. Tantra came from India, maybe around 1100. And initially the practices were to help for enlightenment, for expansion. The root word Tantra is a Sanskrit word. It means weaving or looming, or even expanding. Initially, these practices were only for males. Women were prohibited from doing Tantra practices because these were for males, for the people that were meditating all the time, for them to use these techniques and their chakras and their energy centers to reach these high levels of enlightenment. For me, I've noticed Tantra has helped me when I was so familiar as a nurse with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, to having self-actualization at the top of the pyramid with that. Tantra helped me with that. So it's really such a beautiful tool for transformation and healing. And there's so much amazingness within you. You have all this buried treasure within you. And so it helps you unlock those jewels and those treasures. So often we're taught in our society to look outside ourselves and that we're lacking things, that we need to secure things so that we can feel worthy, and we need to have this status symbol and this and that. So we keep looking outside of ourselves to figure out how we can make ourselves better. You're already whole, complete, and amazing. This is about how do you recognize that within yourself and start to honor yourself and show up that way and realize that and embody that. And Tantra helps you. It has been such a game changer for me. I'm a completely different person when I had my first awakening through Tantra, and I left behind my 30-year career as a nurse, because I used to help with open heart surgeries. I used to help with people at the end of life. And I was like, Tantra's the tool to open people's hearts. Now I'm able to have a way of meeting people at an earlier point in their timeline and help them. So maybe they won't have disease, because disease is dis-ease, it's discomfort in your body. Often when we're having a lot of stress, most diseases come from stress. Tantra helps you to let go of stress, to decrease your cortisol levels, to embrace more love, joy, and pleasure. And then hopefully you won't be in the hospital having illness. And so when I look with my clients, I look holistically as a nurse, 360. What is your nutrition like? Because your body's the instrument to experience pleasure. How are you optimizing your health? Because I got so heartbroken helping people in ICU as they're taking their last breath and they're facing death. And I would give them a lot of compassion and empathy. But when they would share their regrets with me, it would break my heart. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's nothing I can do to help them have a different experience in their life. It's just what's done is done. And they would tell me their fears, the things that held them back. And the people that they were worried about that weren't even there with them as they're taking their last breath, but they had been worried all their lives about pleasing and getting approval from these other people, right? So I was like, okay, now I can help people at an earlier point in their timeline so they can live a place more from a place of love instead of fear. So you can have a different outcome and live life more passionately, more fully. That's why I'm so passionate about teaching Tantra. I thank each and every one of you for being here today. Your presence, I'm so thankful for. I really appreciate you trusting me on your. And if there's something more you'd like to know, let me know. A good starter book on Tantra is any books by Osho. Those are really great books to begin with. Sometimes you can read a book and you can intellectualize something and it makes sense logically, but then you don't know how to integrate it or embody it. So when I work with you, I really want you to have a felt sense of what this is so you can live life more passionately, embodied, and live life to your heart's desires. What is the desire? What is it you're really wanting to experience? And what are the things that are holding you back? And how can we break through those things and you level up and have a different experience? I'm creating a Tantra course, chakras, energy centers, so many things with Tantra. It's more than just sex because it's tools for transformation. And because when you have this healthy relationship and you become your own best lover and you have all this amazing healing, you remove these intimacy blocks, you can have compassion for yourself. You can have deep connection with yourself. You can have intimacy and love with yourself. Then, of course, that makes you a better lover. And a byproduct of that is that the sex is better. Everyone thinks Tantra is just about sex. No, it's about all these things that help you so that you can have more amazing sex. Tantra changed my life. And used to my daughters, they're adults now. I didn't discover this until they were adults. I would have been a much better parent if I would have known this when they were younger. But whenever they were young and I was a single mom and I had my first child when I was 19, I was in survival mode. And so then later with Tantra and learning that, I became from survival mode to thriving. And now my daughters will call me and they'll be like, Mom, I need some Zen right now. And so that really helped me so much. I'm so thankful. It forever changed my life. If you'd like to have a free 30-minute discovery call to see how Tantra can impact your life, there's a link in here as well for you to have a discovery call with me. I hope this was helpful for everyone. Be sure to have a dance party. Set a joy alarm on your phone every day to have fun with your favorite song and just get up and dance and move around and have fun and change things up. Life can be really stressful. It's time that we bring in more play, more pleasure, more fun for ourselves. And just know that your body isn't just something for someone else to enjoy. You are your longest lasting relationship, and there should be no shame about you enjoying your body, you loving yourself. And so just love yourself. And I'm sending each one of you so much love. You're welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Blessings, everyone.